Hi there, folks. Sean Brodrick. I'm at the Metals Investor Forum 2018, and this time I have something really interesting for you. Many Canadian gold projects are far-flung and remote. Let me tell you, I've been to some of those where you have to take a plane in and land on a riverbank and stuff like that. This is not the case for Terrax. This is a company that Mr. Stuart Rogers, who is the president of the company, he is going to tell you about this company that's only 5 miles outside of Yellowknife and has all the advantages that might entail, and yet is in the area of two of the highest grade past producing gold projects in Canada. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
Please tell the viewers about your company and what you guys are doing.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Our company, we've assembled a land package. We've been over the last 5 years, acquiring land around the city of Yellowknife. The reason Yellowknife is there is because of those two mines. That was where the workers lived. These mines started in the 30s and 40s.
What were those mines again?
The Con mine and the Giant mine.
Right.
Two separate mines, two separate companies. They started one in the 30s, one in the 40s, and over their mine life, they closed in the early 2000s. 60-year mine life, basically, they produced over 14 million ounces, an average grade of 16 grams a ton.
16 grams a ton?
Half an ounce, basically. Very high grade. And so these mines closed in the early 2000s. What we did in 2013 is went in and started acquiring land on the same structures that hosted the mines to the north, and doing work and basically saying this is a very prospective area. It's the same geology as major camps like Timmins and Kirkland Lake and Val-d'Or. It's the same geology, so we said, okay, let's go and assemble it did work, and we basically acquired prospective ground. So we've now grown that property from about 29 square kilometers to 440 square kilometers. And we are on the city limits to the north, the east, and the south.
And you guys are not only in the right place, but you are drilling and getting good results too.
Well, we have to, that's the good news. It's great to have infrastructure. It's great to have a town beside you. We don't have any gold. Well, it doesn't really matter. But we've had a lot of successful drilling. We've identified a number of targets. We've got 9 new target areas we developed this last summer.
What kind of grades and intercepts?
Well, it's our best drill hole. I guess this is the best example. It was the top drill hole according to Northern Miner in 2016. It was 8 meters of 60 grams a ton. And that's within about 50 meters of surface. So we have the advantage here too, is that when we go explore, we don't have to do soil samples and that. Like 40% of our property, the structure's outcrop. The rock is at surface, we can go across, we can sample it. We've had samples at surface up to 1,200 grams a ton. 30, 40 ranges, structures over 600 meters long that we've sampled at surface, which is always a good sign, a great place to start. People now, and a lot of the exploration, all the stuff that sticks out of the ground has basically been gone, people say, and we're fortunate to have it still, so you don't have to be going deeper to find it. So these structures, and the other thing is we're finding the gold at surface, but this camp was actually mined down to about 2,000 meters at the Con mine, so it is very deep.
If it's on the same structure.
It's on the same structure. You just follow the structure deeper. And what we, if people go and they look at our presentations on the website, we did a great long section where we see the Con and the Giant mine to the south of our northern properties, where we've got a lot of drilling. We're starting to develop resources, and you can see our deposits, and we're just at surface, and they're 5 to 6 times deeper. So we know, and at least we haven't drilled them off. We know they go deeper. We're following them along strike. We've got high grade gold, we've got large structures, we've got 45 kilometers of strike length overall. It's a very prospective area.
Okay, so what are your plans, say, for the summer and stuff?
Well, our plans are for the winter to drill, because we can start drilling.
That's true, you're right outside Yellowknife.
Yeah, and we've done 3 winter drill programs so far. It's a good time to drill because there's lots of lakes. It's, the Canadian Shield, which is low-lying rock formations, which, collect basically puddles. And as well as lakes, but then that freezes and it's easier to get around. It's easier to access your drill targets. It's a good time for us to do work, and we do our field work in the summer because that's the only time you can really, when the snow's off the ground, you can sample rocks, see structures, do the geophysics and all that, and then we get back in and do the drilling in the winter. So we expect to be starting up before the end of January, and again, we've done this for the last 3 years. We can work from January through till about April when when the ice roads start to melt. We have a bit of a breakup, and then we're back again.
And you guys are working on a resource estimate, right?
Yeah, we've been at this for 5 years. We have over 90,000 meters of drill core from the property, and a lot of that is is focused on some areas, the closest to the city actually, where there was actually some resources already sort of an area of potential resources identified and drilled by the giant mine before it closed. Because this property used to be owned by them, it was something they were going to develop. So they already did a lot of work. We inherited that work. We continue to expand on it, build up the numbers. People say, why don't you do a resource estimate? We can do one now, but if you look at the diagrams on our website, it'll say, well, oh, is that where it ends, that line? No, we just haven't drilled it. So we got lots of structures that are open along strike and at depth. So we want to really drill those off and to come up with a robust resource estimate. In the meantime, the new land that we acquired, everybody wants to have a lot of land, but unless it's prospective, who cares?
Right.
So we did the preliminary work with the geophysics and the field work and mapping and identified about 4 new targets on the area that we acquired in the last year. So it's a district scale project.
Okay, so let's talk about the team that you have assembled for the company and also some of the large investors you have as well.
Yeah, the team, I guess the reason we were in this project, involved in this project, is because of Joe Campbell. He's the chairman and chief executive officer. He's a co-founder of the company with me. We started this in 2007. When I was introduced to Joe, he had discovered the Meladine project in Nunavut.
Yeah.
He then introduced that to Agnico Eagle in around 2008. And in 2010, they acquired it based on
it right up. Yeah.
Well, based on the work and the presentation he did. He showed them, we got over 3 million ounces they'd reported at the time, but there's potential here for over 10. And here's where you're going to get it. And they said they made a decision to buy the company, and they did. They acquired it for just under $700 million in cash and shares in 2010. Since then, they've done work, and they've been putting out numbers that put the total over 11 million ounces. And they've got their permits, and they're moving towards opening the mine in 2019. And the key there is that's our key and lode gold. That's the same geology as where we are now. Joe's done this before. So we're trying to follow the same model as that, which takes time. You've got to go and have your initial discovery, but he was also able to show them that there's an endowment here. Here's some other targets we've identified. Here's some sampling. Here's some drilling. We've tested them. They think they're great, but okay, we're going to carry on focusing on where we're going to start. So we're looking to doing the same thing. So that's our team. That's Joe, and the people we have in the field are guys that worked for him. Al Sexton, our VP Exploration, was his second in command at Meladine. Our drill coordinator worked at Meladine. So we got an experienced crew of people working on the project. Through Joe and his reputation and his contacts, we attracted initial investment from Virginia Mines, which was acquired by Osisko Gold Royalties.
Yes.
And then they got excited because they can see, they're in Quebec. They're familiar with this geology. They could see the potential. So they came in as an investor, and they hold 11% of our shares.
Excellent.
And management and our employees, we're believers in the project. We have 11% collectively as well, too. And we've got an institutional following and some strategic investors. So we've been at this for 5 years. We're starting to build a critical mass, I think, identify, with getting all the work done on the property to really identify that this is the real deal. This is a district. We've got high-grade gold. We've got community support, which is the other thing that when people come to the city, they're impressed with. You can fly in. You don't have to get on a bush plane. You come in by jet, scheduled, and you'll be in our core facility in 5 minutes. It's right at the airport, and we can take you to meet all the government officials, the mayor, and whoever's there.
Right.
I mean, Northwest Territory supports mining. They recognize that's their bread and butter, and they're used to having 2 mines there. They love to have 2 mines again.
There's a mining history.
There's a mining history,
they love that there.
and we find there when people come up to see and talk to the local community, what they find is people saying, well, we wish you would drill more. We wish you'd move faster. When can I start work in the mine? So we get a lot of support. So it's really positive. So when you go through and you look at projects, and every investor is always concerned about, that sounds too good to be true. What's the critical flaw? We think over 5 years now and what we've been doing, we think we're really we think we've satisfied all those things. It's just a matter of doing the work.
Well, you actually raise a very interesting point, which is the years of work that you put in this. One thing that I find it hard to actually communicate to my subscribers is how long it actually takes to explore for and develop and build a mine. And for years, the price of gold was so low, that really wasn't being done. There's a squeeze coming, and so your company seems to be kind of sliding into the really the good spot for that, where the big companies that didn't want to spend the money at the time have to buy those resources.
Yep.
And so that could really play to your advantage.
I was just talking with a fellow today, actually works for me, so he's just aware of what we feel now and what I feel is realistic and what fund managers feel that I was talking to recently, is they're looking for opportunities in the sector. There are no good opportunities, district scale, high grade, good location. They all have some critical flaw in them. I mean, I think the time is coming for us. More advanced projects are being acquired, being bought. So what else is left? And the gold companies, they have to go to the juniors. They don't do exploration themselves at all.
No, they don't.
They've stated that. They say, well, we're going to go and we're going to acquire assets. A number of them have done, in 10%, 20% investments in small companies to sort of kickstart them to get going, saying, we like your work, we like what you've done. Here's some money, advance it, and if you're successful, we'll buy you, and if not, well, whatever. At least we might have a chance to get our stock back. So we're really the farm team for them. That's the way it works. And I think our time is coming, because what the fund managers have said to me is that say, there's nothing out there. And there's actually been some reports from some big brokers even a year ago saying that the field was getting thinned out, and that's been thinned out even more over the last year. So I think our time's definitely here.
Okay, my last question would be, what's your stock symbol?
Oh, TXR on the Venture Exchange, and then we are TRXXF on the bulletin board.
On the OTC.
In the OTC.
Yeah. Okay,
sorry,
great.
not the bulletin boards, the OTC.
That's all right.
They keep changing the names.
Yeah, they do. So that's it for me. Do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think we covered it.
All right.
Yeah, that's good.
Good. All right. Another great company here, folks. This is one you have to keep your eyes on. District scale gold potential, and it's right on the edge of town up in Yellowknife. It has all the things going for it. What hasn't happened yet is that spark hasn't actually lit. Once it does, we could see the stock go a lot higher. Do your own due diligence, but definitely check this one out. This is Sean Brodrick for the Metals Investor Forum 2018. Thanks for tuning in.